Sunyata Audiobooks presents The Singing Earth, Adventures from a World of Music, written and narrated by Barrett Martin. The musical soundtrack that accompanies this audiobook consists of a series of field recordings made around the world by Barrett Martin, including songs from his various bands. The journey takes us across 6 continents and 15 different musical regions over the course of 30 years. This book is dedicated to all the musicians who carry the soul of the world in their hearts. Prelude: A Universe Made of Song. John Coltrane once said, "All a musician can do is to get closer to the sources of nature and so feel that he is in communion with the natural laws." When I was a little boy, around the age of 7, I would occasionally awaken in the middle of the night and wander outside our house to listen to the fragrant forest that surrounded my childhood home. The forest was alive. It seemed to vibrate with sound, color, texture, and smell. I could hear the frogs croaking in the distant swamp, the occasional night bird, and the whirring of leaves when a warm breeze rustled through the trees. This was all before I knew I would even become a musician, but looking back, I realized that the forest was already singing to me in its own way, with its own song, and it was utterly captivating. I've never lost my love of forests and the wilderness, but by the time I was 21, I was a professional musician playing in cities around the world. I was still hearing the music of the earth, but now it included the sounds of communities, cities, and entire countries, all of which resonated with a certain frequency that was unique and particular to each place. Often it came to me as a rhythm, sometimes as a melody, and occasionally it was just the general feeling or mood of a place that sounded like a rich jazz chord. Other times the place sounded dangerous, but there is a certain excitement in that too, where life and death seem to coexist in a tentative balance. Over the course of many years of traveling, I came to realize that the earth is singing to us all the time, in a language that has no boundaries, with deep cultural and spiritual significance to each of us. A huge amount of information is transmitted in this way, and part of our evolution as a species is learning how to listen and understand these messages. When I first started traveling as a musician, we toured in a 1973 van, the engine of which my brother and I rebuilt in our grandfather's garage. We put 50,000 miles on that van during my first 2 years of touring across the United States and Canada, and this eventually culminated in an extensive tour of Europe with a different van that had been converted from an old milk truck. Over the years, I joined different bands and moved up to newer vans and eventually modern air-conditioned tour buses. I took more transoceanic flights and slept in more hotel rooms than I can count. And I once slept outside on a fire escape in Philadelphia because of an all-night party that was keeping me awake. I can't say that it was a glamorous life, because mostly it was just hard work, traveling through time and space for many years just to play music for people. However, the most rewarding experiences I had were the incredible landscapes I saw and the amazing people I met when we finally arrived at our destination. I've heard it said countless times that the 22 hours a musician travels in a day is what we get paid for, and the 2 hours we play for an audience is what we give away for free. I totally agree with that sentiment, because music is a gift that needs to be shared, and we all benefit from it. But it wasn't always touring that took me to the most interesting places. In fact, it was when I put on a backpack and started walking into a rainforest, a desert, or a city where I had never played a show, where I had the most extraordinary experiences. During these global travels, I spent long periods of time in countries where I could immerse myself in the music and culture of the people I was visiting.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?